Hello everybody, my name is Slothy and welcome back to the Cryptic Commander. Today, we're going to be starting off a little bit of a new series here, where we take a look at the 5 best, in my opinion, cards from each standard set. This series is kind of designed to cater to beginners who kind of want to play at a more competitive level but might not know where to start. So I'm just going to kind of give you some card ideas, and we're starting off with the newest sets because it is much easier to buy into Strixhaven than it is into Alpha. Now, before we get started with this, I just want to say we at the Cryptic Commander are partnered with the Cosmic Gaming community, and they are awesome over there. So go check them out and let them know Slothy sent ya. So just one more thing to go over before we get started here. These cards are in no particular order. Just so if you're looking for like a 5-to-1 list, this is not really going to be that for you. So we're just going to jump right into it here. And the first card we're going to be talking about is Vanishing Verse. This is an instant for a white and a black, and it says exile target monocolored permanent. And I love this card. See, I play a lot of Arena, particularly usually historic or brawl, but I do play quite a bit of standard as well, and I come up against a lot of red deck wins builds, and this makes complete sense to me because if you're looking at where we get our data for the podcast, mggdex.net, you'll see that that is the second most popular deck in standard right now, at just over 9.4%. And with this card being able to take out their Robber of the Rich, their Torbrands, their Bone Crusher Giants, their Phoenix of Ash, their Akroan War, it is just such a good card. Their Embercleave as well. So if they go and they put an Embercleave on their Robber of the Rich, you could just say, boom, Vanishing Verse, no more Embercleave for you. And I think that the versatility on that is very, very good. However, it is monocolored. So if you are playing against like a Yorion deck or a Kinnan deck in Brawl perhaps, it's not going to be as effective. There are still monocolored permanents in those decks. However, it is far more useful when you're playing against a deck that is comprised mainly of monocolored cards. So the next card that I'm going to talk about today is one of my personal favorites from this set. It is Elite Spellbinder. This is the card that they made for Paulo Vitor Damarosa, who won the World Championship. It is a 3/1 creature human cleric for 2 and a white that has flying. And when Elite Spellbinder enters the battlefield, look at target opponent's hand. You may exile a non-land card from it, and for as long as that card remains exiled, its owner may play it, and a spell cast this way costs 2 more to cast. I love this card in my blue-white control deck, which is what I play most in standard. And it sees a lot of play in like White Weenie, Nigh Adventures, Modern Death and Taxes, Selesnya Company, and even there's a neat little synergy that I put in my Derevi deck with this card. So if you pair this Elite Spellbinder with Drannith Magistrate, and you exile something from their hand, say, for example, a Thassa's Oracle, if they're trying to run the Thassa's Oracle Demonic Consultation combo, it's just gone, because with Drannith Magistrate, they cannot cast spells from anywhere but their hand. Now, keep in mind, this will probably draw a lot of hate towards Drannith Magistrate, which usually is the case anyway, but if you can find a way to protect it, it is a very, very good way of just shutting off your opponent's win. And as I said before, it has done a ton of work in standard for me, even in my historic control deck, which has only very few changes from the standard one, to be honest, but it's still a very, very good card, very, very fun to play, and it makes the game a lot easier for you to win. If you're trying to buy that turn or two for the extra 2 mana, that's usually enough for you to win the game, if it's like turn 4 or 5 or something like that. And the third card that we're going to talk about today is Clever Lumamancer. It is a 0/1 creature human wizard for a white. And I know you might be thinking, Slothy, it's a 0/1. How good can it really be? But just trust me, guys, it's got Magecraft. So this is the new mechanic from Strixhaven, and it reads, whenever you cast or copy an instant or sorcery spell, Clever Lumamancer gets +2/+2 until end of turn. So this sees quite a bit of play, mostly in Magecraft specific decks if you're looking just at Arena right now. It also shows up in some historic red deck wins lists, some historic Boros aggro, historic humans, modern Boros aggro as well. It can get out of hand very, very quickly, especially in those formats that tend to run a lot more cheap spells, or even if you're running it in a Selesnya list where you're running 4 mutagenic growths, you are casting it, paying the 2 life, and just giving it +2/+2. And that's a 1 cost spell anyway, so if you decide not to pay the 2 life, it's still very, very easy to get that little bit of a buff. And if you can give it maybe double strike or menace or some way to evade your opponents, it can get out of hand very, very quickly and win you games very fast. So the fourth card we're going to be talking about today has a little bit more of a niche market about it. It's not seen as much as some of the other cards in this set I've found, but it is still very, very good, especially in Modern. So this card is Thrilling Discovery. It's a sorcery for a red and a white. You gain 2 life, then you may discard 2 cards. If you do, draw 3 cards. So this card is phenomenal in Dredge. And even if you don't want to discard 2 cards, it's still good, gain 2 life for 2 mana. And if you do discard 2 cards, you could discard, like, say for example, going more commandery route, Wander, which gives you your creatures flying if it's in the graveyard. And there's a bunch of cards like that that you can discard and then recast later. And I find that it is just a very, very versatile card. It also does see play in some Dragon's Approach lists, some Super Friends lists. And yeah, it's just a very, very fun card to play with. I've had a lot of fun with it, and that's why I think it deserves to have a spot on this list today. So the final card that we're going to talk about today is Velamakis Lorehold, and we're going to go into a bit in depth with what I mean when I say this, but I think this is the strongest card in the set. And as much as I love the Elite Spellbinder, it is such a good card. I think Velamakis just has a little bit of an edge to it. Velamakis is a 5/5 legendary creature, Elder Dragon, for 5, a red and a white, that has Flying, Vigilance, and Haste. Whenever Velamakis Lorehold attacks, look at the top 7 cards of your library. You may cast an instant or sorcery spell with mana value less than or equal to Velamakis Lorehold's power from among them without paying its mana cost. Put the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. The fact that this has Haste makes it so powerful, because if it didn't, it would just draw removal right away, which it usually does anyway. But if you can get that one attack, that could just be enough to sway the game in your favor. And so I was looking through deck lists on, once again, the site that we use quite a bit, mtgdecks.net, and I found a 4-color creativity list. This is for Modern, and I'm going to read the list to you guys and kind of tell you how it works very, very well. So it's got 2 creatures, both of them are Velamakis Lorehold. It's got 15 instants, 3 Growth Spirals, 4 Lightning Bolts, 4 Prismari Commands, 4 Remands. It's got 7 Planeswalkers, 3 Teferi Time Ravelers, and 4 Wrenn and 6. It's got 24 lands, 1 Katraya Trirome, 1 Island, 1 Raugrin Triome, 1 Sacred Foundry, 1 Mountain, 2 Wooded Foothills, 2 Arid Mesa, 2 Bloodstained Mire, 2 Stomping Ground, 3 Steam Vents, 4 Dwarven Mind, and 4 Scalding Tarn. And in the sideboard, there's got 1 Emrakul the Aeon's Torn, 2 Flusterstorm, 2 Mystical Dispute, 3 Prismatic Ending, 3 Veil of Summer, and 4 Aether Gust. And now, eagle-eared listeners and viewers may be like, Slothy, aren't there any sorceries in this deck? I only counted 48 cards there. You're absolutely right. There are 12 sorceries in this deck. 4 Time Warp, 4 Savor the Moment, and 4 Indomitable Creativity. Now this is the card that this deck is built around. It's a sorcery for X and 3 red, And you can destroy X target artifacts and or creatures. For each permanent destroyed this way, its controller reveals cards from the top of his or her library until an artifact or creature card is revealed and exiles that card. Those players put the exiled cards onto the battlefield and then shuffle their libraries. So there are no artifacts in this deck. So there's only one thing you can hit, and that is Velamakis Lorehold. And so with this, you're going to want to destroy something, and you'll be able to search for the Velamakis and play it right away and then get the attack with it. And I think that this deck is, well, it's not necessarily a tier 1 deck. It's very fun, and creativity is such a powerful card, especially when paired with Velamakis Lorehold. And that is going to do it for today's video. I do hope you all enjoyed. If you did, please feel free to let us know by leaving a like, comment, and subscribe. Let us know what you think of the more video content that is coming out on the Cryptic Commander YouTube channel. Check out our podcast. We release it usually every Saturday or early Sunday morning. And once again, thank you so much to the Cosmic Gaming community for partnering with us and being with us on this awesome journey of making content for you guys. My name is Slothy, and I'll see you next time.